Hello everyone and welcome back to a top level game of professional StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg where we find ourselves on Waterfall. Now spawning right here in the top right hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran SCVs from South Korea, we have Cure. And his opponent in the opposite corner with the red Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Dark. Now Dark's starting off today with a spawning pool first. Interesting. I've seen this more and more often over the last couple of months. So I would say probably 7 to 8 times out of 10 games at this level, we see the hatchery into a gas geyser and then eventually a spawning pool. Obviously, that allows you to get the queens going and a couple of Zerglings early on as well to defend against the early game Reaper. But the spawning pool first certainly has a lot of use as well. A lot of Terrans over the last couple of months have been skipping the SCV scout once again. This is one of those things that fades in and out of popularity. And Dark decides to use that information right now to go for a very, very fast roach warren. So most of the time, whenever we do see a spawning pool first, it's just to get a couple of Zerglings out and then to send them in creative paths to watch the other side of the map so you can dodge that very first Reaper. But every once in a while, when we do see the spawning pool first, it is going to be a quick roach warren. And I do like it on this map. Waterfall is the map with the shortest rush distance from natural to natural right now, so these units should be able to get across the map pretty rapidly. The main question is whether or not Cure is going to find out. So he skipped the SCV scout. Is he going to find out that there is a roach warren building? Because those Zerglings are going to be annoying. Yeah, so now he sees the timing of the hatchery. Because of that, he can determine, okay, you know what? I'm going to need that Reaper at home for base defense. It's only 2 Zerglings this time around, so really not that big of a deal. I actually think that the Reaper could have stayed out there. But you never really know if it's just going to be 2 or 4 or sometimes even 6. And against 6 Zerglings, you are in a little bit of trouble. Alright, so the roaches are building. Reaper once again making a beeline towards the other side of the map. And it now scouts the roach warren. Well, I guess the roaches themselves, and with that, the roach warren as well. Quality commentating, Loco. Well done. So now at the very least he knows. So even though I'm not a huge fan of skipping the SCV scout, he did find out very quickly, and that will allow him to go straight into the tech lab here. So a couple Marines were produced. He's now going for a bunker as well. Okay, love that grenade usage here on that Reaper. Just trying to slow this down, because every single second counts. We need to finish up that bunker, of course, and honestly, considering he didn't know, this is pretty much flawless defense so far here by Cure. Maybe showing us why the early game SCV scouts are no longer really that popular at this level of play. Because even on this map, this has been, defended nicely so far. Now, in order to justify this attack, I think that Dark probably needs to kill like 4 to 5 SCVs or so. And then also keep the majority of these units alive. And honestly, as soon as the Cyclone is out, the base defense is going to be pretty solid. Especially if there's a second one as well. I'm assuming he's going to queue up another one. Okay, good lock on right there on that one Ravager. Dealing a lot of damage. Just going to go for a singular one. Okay. I think going for just a single Cyclone is actually a bit greedy. But you know what? Yeah, Zerg is not going to be able to break this very well at all. Good micro here by Dark, but obviously that Cyclone is just, whenever it's got a lock on available, it's just not going to be in reach. Okay. Now, normally, the follow-up here from Zerg is a 3rd hatchery and then a whole lot of drones. In this case, we just saw a single Ravager being morphed in. Very fast Zergling speed on the back of it, or Zergling speed rather on the back of it, and now a ton of Zerglings are ready to rush across the map as well. And I wonder if this is going to be a little bit punishing, because Cure at this point doesn't have a whole lot available to defend against this just yet. Interesting little follow-up though. This makes it a whole lot more all-in, because now obviously Dark is... Ooh, beautiful grenade once again. He's really sacrificing that drone count quite a bit. Only 33 workers available. Now the Zerglings are spotted. Honestly, yeah, good movement here by Cure. Gonna be able to mineral walk those units through. Beautiful work. Really good defense. Really good stuff. Okay, so 4 SCVs ended up going down. I think that would have been okay if it was just the roaches and that one Ravager, but now all those Zerglings were produced as well. And now suddenly, yeah, there's a Banshee up in the air. This is going to be held pretty easily. Great start here from Cure. Yeah, so if you're a Terran player, I just recommend going for an SCV scout early on, because you can make this defense so much easier for yourself. But yeah, if you're Cure, apparently, you can skip it. Just micro your units flawlessly. Make sure you don't make any mistakes, and life is A-okay. I mean, maybe he should have not have sent those SCVs down towards the low ground as quickly here, but other than that, this is a really good start here for the Terran. That being said, can he do any damage on the other side of the map? Okay, 1 drone, 2 drone. Slow reaction right there from Dark. Okay, 3rd drone. No, not a 4th drone. Good morphin right there of that 1 spore. Well, he's gonna get a 4th regardless. Over the last couple of weeks, actually, that spore crawler is quite clever. Yeah, try to catch that Banshee on the retreat. Okay. Over the last couple of weeks, it seems to me that Dark has been struggling quite a bit. He's dropped down in the world rankings. Yeah, quite a distance, and not entirely sure as to why that is. Maybe he's just not feeling it right now, or maybe he hasn't had as much time to practice. But he's still participating in quite a few tournaments. He's just not as successful. Now he's making 7 overlords at once. 7 overlords at once is panic. Like, that is not what you're looking for. Alright. So, we are going to transition towards the mid-game. I wonder what would have happened if Dark decided to... Or sorry, if Cure decided to just go for an all-out assault. So, rather than going for the 3rd command center, to add on another couple barracks instead. Because this Baneling speed is not going to be done anytime soon. The creep threat is not going to be that far out either. So I do think that there would have been, yeah, an option to go for a big attack as soon as the Stimpack upgrade finished. But anyways, instead he's going to use the units that he's got right now to defend the 3rd command center. And he's going to try and build on his advantage here over the next couple of minutes instead. That does mean that Dark gets a lot of wiggle room here to claw himself back into this match. He's doing so, though, by cutting a corner. So, first off, he decides to go for the double upgrades before Baneling speed. He's got the resources right now, though, for Bane speed. Bane speed is super important. No? Alright, man. So one of the problems you run into is that with this opener, right, your creep spread is not going to be particularly great. And when your creep spread is not particularly great, defending against timing attacks from the Terrans becomes incredibly hard, right? Like, you need to buy as much time as possible by creeping up this entire area if you want to hold on to this 4th hatchery. So that's why we see Cure pushing back and forth right now, scanning, dealing a little bit of damage, killing a couple tumors. There's finally that Baneling speed upgrade, but there's a very good chance that despite the 3rd command center, Cure is still going to make a move out right now with 1-1, as well as the combat shield. Okay. This could be game-ending damage here from Cure. Obviously, this is Dark we're talking about. Dark is a previous world champion of StarCraft 2. He's very good, but he's struggling a little bit in this game so far. Then again, he's got a good amount of economy. Creep spread is looking respectable, all things considered. But this is going to be a tough hold. Okay. It's got a lot of Ravagers. Zergling's going around the back. Ooh, well, that might be a siege tank you might want to grab. 1-1 is going to finish up here in about 20 seconds, but it's not done just yet. Then again, yeah, there's just a whole lot of Zerg units available. Surround coming in. And despite that start, Dark still holds that relatively easily. So here's the thing, though. Dark hasn't seen the 3rd command center here from Cure, right? That could have been one hell of a 2-base all-in. And I don't think there would have been enough units available for Dark to hold against that. Then again, I think it's a relatively safe choice, because pretty much all of the Terran players do go for the 3rd command center at the earliest possible moment. Now he does know, judging by the size of that army, but that certainly was a little bit risky, right? Okay, so now 1-1 is done. Now Baneling speed is done as well. The defense going forward is certainly going to be a little bit easier, and I would say that Dark is actually pretty solid now. Yeah, especially if he decides to go into 2-2 research, he should be feeling pretty good. Decides to go for Burrow and Overlord speed instead. I don't feel like those are priorities right now, but interesting. He decides to, okay, yeah, delay is 2-2 in favor of Burrow and Nematize Carapace, which is something. Anyhow, what's Terran up to? Essentially more of the same. He's going into 2-2, which is going to finish up really nice and early. He's obviously pumping out a lot of medevacs. 2nd factory also coming up, so he's going to be able to transition towards larger mechanical armies. And for those mechanical units, he's already getting himself the +1 upgrade. Now, that's a good clean snipe right there. Using that creep spread of the Zerg against him. Trying to target fire down a couple of those Banes, but he does decide to get on out of there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's the way to get back into a game, right? if you don't have the most successful start, playing as straightforward as possible is oftentimes not the case. You need to take a gamble. So even if the gamble works out, you know, 4 out of 5 times, it's obviously still a gamble. Because he didn't know. You're always dealing with limited amounts of information in a game of StarCraft 2. That's why you won't see Serral going for a whole lot of those roach pushes in the early game, right? Just not really his playstyle. That was beautiful. Okay. Good targeting as well by Cure, though. Getting out of there with the Medivacs just barely in the nick of time. But he gets out, and he targeted a bunch of Banelings down. Yeah, so the cost efficiency here is what we're really talking about, right? So Cure has been able to match that Terran, or that Zerg economy quite well. And he's just trading quite a bit better. The thing is, though, at this point in the game, the armies are getting so big that one wrong engagement can even up this game entirely. I still think this is a good position right now for Cure, but not as good as it was at the beginning of the game. Anyhow, he's going for his 5th and his 6th command center here. He's going into 3-3 research. This is the Terran sweet spot, right? This is where Terran players love to be in the current meta of StarCraft 2. But this is Dark we're talking about. So Dark plays this game a little bit differently than the other top-level Zergs. He decides to go for this base on the low ground. There's no way, Dark. I want to see it, but I don't see how. Like, you're essentially next-door neighbors. I was already questioning the base at the, well, I was going to say 3 o'clock, but that's not quite 3 o'clock. That's like 4:30. Anyhow, he's got a Hive. He's going into Pathogen Glands, so that's the Infestor energy upgrade. Now he's going into Vipers, and he's going into 3-3. So he's going to get Spellcasters out faster than upgrades, which is not what we normally see. But I was going to say, there's no way you're going to be able to hold onto that base. This is a real issue for Zerg players on Waterfall. All the bases that Dark has at this point are basically the only ones he's gonna get. He could try and aim for this one. Obviously, he can try for this one that he just tried taking already, but it's really difficult for the Zerg player to move forward from here. Now, before I started this cast, I looked at the replay timer for this particular game, and this is a long match. So I'm not entirely sure how Dark is gonna sit on these bases for another half hour. Like, he's gonna need to get something done with the economy that he's got right now. These bases will mine out in about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the amount of drones he's gonna get in those outer expansions, but it's gonna be really difficult for him to sustain in this game. Alright, 3rd factory coming up as well, by the way. Do we have a Ghost Academy? We do have a Ghost Academy. Okay, very important. Here comes the Zerg, though. Running straight towards the natural. Cure lifting up that supply depot. Just barely in time. A lot of Terran units, though, are, not expecting this Zerg assault straight through the center of the map. Viper showing up a bit late to the party. Yeah. That was mostly a trade. Both players just losing a lot of troops. I guess that allows Dark to now transition towards more of the same, but also finish up his Greater Spire, so that's something. Parasitic bombs here to get rid of those Banshees from the early game. Before this Banshee goes down, though. Ugh. She will be... Oh, she's not going down. I was gonna say she will be responsible for at least... Okay. For a couple more creep tumors. Yeah, Dark is a very greedy boy when it comes to his upgrades in this game. So he's going straight into Infestor Broodlord right now. That is very strong, together with 3-3 upgrades. And he's also got a bunch of Vipers already up in the air, so... This is a difficult to control unit composition for Dark. But he got there, right? He made it to this unit composition, which after the early game, I was not entirely sure about. Then again, honestly, with the way that Terrans have been playing over the last couple of months, I'm sure you've seen this in a lot of the casts that I've done as well. They're playing very greedy. And basically, this is where Terran players want to be. This is what they're aiming for, okay? This is when Terran players at the top level close their eyes at night, this is what they dream of. Just command centers everywhere, a whole lot of ghosts, them researching freaking high-sec auto-tracking together with the building armor after 3-3 is done, right? That's what Terran players are dreaming of at this point. And even though Dark is playing very greedy, and what I would consider to be greedy at least like a year ago, maybe in the current meta, it's justified, right? Since Terrans are like, no, I don't actually want to kill you. I want to kill you in like 20 minutes from now. Yeah, Dark is using that knowledge against him. And he's now actually got this base up and running. With Broodlord, Infestor, Viper, how in the world are you going to break this easily here as Cure? So, Taking this base is absolutely critical here for Dark. Here come the Brute Lords. Unscouted, right? This is the first time I believe that Cure sees them. There's no way that he... There's no way he scanned for the Greater Spire, I don't think. So this is showing up uncontested. That's kind of the thing, I guess. Those ghosts are still pretty good, even if you don't scout. But anyways, Viper, or sorry, Infestor on the low ground, trying to land the fungal. Okay, it does land it. Another fungal. Beautiful. EMP does go down. Now suddenly the Zerg army is moving forward, though. This is an amazing engagement here by Dark. Grabbing a lot of those Terran units. The ghosts go down, the siege tanks go down. Planetary Fortress here also gets picked off. And that base is super dead. Brilliant engagement right there from the Zerg. Lovely stuff. I wasn't entirely sure how he was going to pull that, but yeah, Cure just not being ready against those Brute Lords. At the very least, he had the units for it, but not in the right place at the right time. And once again, ooh, almost overextending with another group of ghosts. Yeah. So basically what's been happening, in case you haven't watched a lot of StarCraft 2 over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 months or so, maybe more. Zerg players have essentially gotten to this point and then slowly died. maybe not so much in a lot of the games that I've uploaded on my channel, because I tend to feature the very best players in the world, and the top level Zergs were pretty quick to adjust. But the vast majority of the Zerg players in the world have been losing at this point in the game. And Terrans are getting pretty greedy with this, because there was very little scouting. Look at this Zerg ball right now, though. Cure just did not know what he was going up against. Now suddenly, once again, he's caught with his pens down. These are incredibly inefficient trades here for the Zerg player, for obvious reasons. But the Terran's not mining much. What a banger of a game here so far for Dark. After that horrible start. Oh my god, a command center just blew up. Was that an orbital? I think the orbital probably just got destroyed. Yeah, 3 orbitals have gotten killed in this game. Yeah, Dark's got this killer instinct when he plays a game of SC2. He did not really care about that early game, right? Most Zerg players, when they're in that situation, are like, you know what? I'm not gonna try and take any chances anymore in this game. But he's like, no, I cut 17 corners left, right, and center. Let me see how you like my army. Alright, so now he's doubling down on the Infestor count. Very cool. In the meantime, though, Cure is still concerned about the Brute Lord situation, so he's going for Blue Flame Hellbats right now. He's going for Thors, and obviously he's already got a whole load of those ghosts out as well. Well, actually, I say that. He had a lot more, but yeah, 8 of them got killed. Luckily, though, for Cure, he did have a lot of additional command centers, so he can just fly one on over here. But this is not so easy now for Cure, actually. So a lot of these games get decided by the player who mines more resources, right? At this point, Dark is very rapidly mining out one of the trickier bases on this map. This expansion over here is not going to be easy for Cure to acquire either, although he's going to make a move for it right now. Let's see if there's something that Dark can do about that. We're going to need a couple scans here, Cure. Maybe he landed a bunch of mules, I'm not exactly sure. We're going to need a couple scans, there you go, to get rid of those tumors. Zerg immediately coming in around the site, but Blue Flame Hellbats are available. Yeah, nice little bit of roasting there from Cure. But we're just going full Brute Lord Infestor with some Ling Bane for support and some backstabbing, I suppose. That's really all about, yeah. It's really just about it. There's not that many other Zerg units available. It's mostly just Brute Lord Infestor with some Queens and then Vipers available too. Okay, there's another Fungal Growth. I don't know if you want to be stimming forward here, my man. Yeah, Blinding Cloud shutting down that move forward. Fungal Growth also absolutely murdering this. Okay. Still, there's not enough firepower in that Zerg army to properly pull it back, and yeah, this base will get destroyed. Is Cure gonna try and take that one? I find that hard to believe. That's a little bit of a jittery orbital command, actually. Anyways, there's a move happening in the meantime on the left side of the map. 11 SCVs just got blown up, and I do believe there's going to be more SCV deaths as well after that planetary fortress falls. Those Zerglings are going to be able to clean that up very quickly. So it's a base for a base there. Okay, 2 Vipers up in the air that were trying to get some additional energy. Just now got destroyed as well. And Cure is going full bulldozer here. He's still following around. I think the med effect there with the orbital command. Okay, now finally it moves around. 2 bases, though, were killed by the Terran, whereas a single expansion got killed by the Zerg. Let's see how this goes. 1 scan would be awesome, but yeah, he needs a bunch of scans, actually, just to get rid of all the creep here. Is Cure gonna start camping out here? I don't know if that's the best spot, dude. Cure actually only has 22 SCVs at this point. Zerglings once again going in for the counterattack, but oof. Dark does control them well, and he pulls them back just barely in time. Got a feeling that this hatch over here is in a lot of trouble too. A good thinking here by Cure. Okay, he wonders where is that next Zerg going to go, or the next Zerg base going to be. It's going to be on the left side of the map, and that hatchery does get cancelled. Alright. 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 Those drones still hiding underground, by the way. It's dangerous to go deep onto the creep. One problem you run into, for example, is neural parasites, right? He knows that there's still a lot of infestors available. These bad boys can temporarily change the allegiance, I guess, of these Terran units. And if suddenly those Thor switch sides, that would be a disaster. So Cure wisely decides to move back, but he actually got a lot of damage done, a lot more than I thought he would. Now he's mining a new base. These are all fresh mineral fields that have not been touched just yet. As long as he turtles his location up, he should be pretty good. This command center over here is soon not going to be very relevant anymore either, since these resources run out, so I don't think you really want to put a lot of your production over here. Natural, obviously, is already gone, right? So he's now very split up in his, unit movement. He needs to be careful that he doesn't accidentally find himself in a 2 split up situation. Obviously, the Zerg army is still faster than the Terran. You don't want to be caught with half your army against the entire Zerg force. But anyways, Cure now taking the right side of the map. Dark has decided to be content on the left side of the map instead. Love those blue flame Hellions on the high ground, but they want to harass a mineral line really bad, but it's not going to happen. And even though this base was mined by the Terran for quite a while, now Dark is going to establish a hatchery over here instead. Cure smashing his piggy bank. He's maxed out, so he decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for smart servos. That's a research that allows those Thors, as well as the Hellions, to transform in between the different modes a little bit faster. Okay. It's a scary engagement, though, yeah. Whenever we see the Terrans going through a choke point like that, I never really like it too much. Ooh, nice little move there by Dark. Look at that. He's throwing Brutelings on his own Brutelings and on his own Creep Tumor as well, just to try and get as much distance on those units as possible. Okay. How many infestors are we on? 20? Whew. That's a lot. That is a lot. Terran, though, trying to deny this expansion. He's like, wait a second, those were my minerals. It's gonna be cancelled for the time being. Thors, by the way, outrange the Brute Lords, right? So that's why Dark is pulling out all the tricks here to try and get as much range on those Brutelings as possible. Thors have 11 anti-air range, and Brute Lords are at 10 anti-ground. Meaning that the Thors in a straight-up battle would have a pretty good time. Okay. Lovely little bit of harassment. I had no idea that the Thor could actually reach that hatchery there, but hey, that's pretty strong. Okay, fungal growth once again. Liberators trying to prevent those infestors from moving too far forward, and now suddenly we're fighting over this crevice. I don't think this is the spot, Cure. Yeah, he comes in from a very greedy angle. Good splits right there. Well, I was going to say because of the fungal growth, but no. Despite the fungal growth, he decided to get a pretty decent split, but a lot of that Terran army just get absolutely destroyed. Fungal growth here as well to rub salt in the wound. Brilliant engagement there from Dark. Woo! His late game micro might be the best in the world right now when it comes to these Zerg units. So just to clarify, Ling Bane has to be on a separate hotkey. Queens have to be on a separate hotkey. Brute Lords have to be on a separate hotkey. Infestors have to be on a separate hotkey. And the Vipers also have to be on it. Maybe I said one unit twice. Anyways, doesn't really matter. Corruptors also have to be on a separate hotkey. I don't really know how these guys micro their units. It's actually insane. If you've ever given it a try, 453 average actions per minute is a start. In those actual battles, you need probably like 600 effective actions per minute. There's not a whole lot of spamming that you can do at that point in the game. Anyhow, brilliant fight right there by Dark. Cure thought, you know what? I want to try and move into another choke point. Whatever he does, it's Dark who punishes him. Okay, so Cure's supply just plummeted, but he still had a bit of a bank. He still has, of course, a lot of command centers. So even though he doesn't have a lot of SCVs, he can mine these bases relatively easily with those mules. And because of that, his income is still pretty good. Yeah. So right now, actually, the income is pretty much identical. I think Dark should really make a move here. Maybe he doesn't quite realize the amount of damage that he's done to the Terran player, but I think if he goes for a move right now, he might be able to just win the game. Instead, though, he's thinking, okay, I don't have a lot of money. I'm gonna do the thing that the Terran did in the early game. Rather than try and go for the win right now and take a gamble, I'm gonna try and just... Couple of banelings here. I'm gonna try and just establish a bigger economy and then eventually obtain the victory. This is, of course, a gamble, though, because Cure now is capable of getting his economy up and running once again. He's gonna be able to get another maxed out force, it seems. This is not the engagement, Cure. Cure keeps going through the choke points. Those choke points have not been treating him nicely. Yeah. Resource-wise, it's actually not really the end of the world anymore here for Zerg. Just because he's been mining so much more. Okay, Brute Lords are showing up here. Fusion Core in some trouble. Planetary Fortress from earlier. This one doesn't really matter all too much. This is mostly just Dark doing a little bit of spring cleaning and not allowing the Terran any vision anymore on this side of the map. Okay. I'm surprised with how passive Dark is playing right now, though. Maybe he didn't realize that he reduced the Terran to, like... What was that? Like 70 supply? Apparently content with just a couple of little counterattacks here and there. Maybe he's that scared, though, of actually fighting this army. So one thing to note is that these queens are not going to be able to fight off creep, and there's 6 of those in total. It's difficult as well to, like, move sieging units, like, for example, Brute Lords and Infestors in the right location. Usually when you're defending, obviously, you can actually decide where that engagement is going to take place. Whereas if you're pushing, it's much more difficult, so maybe his plan is to play defensively here instead. I mean, I just said that his late game control is looking ridiculously good right now. Maybe best in class. And because of that, I don't think I want to doubt him too much, but I am curious as to why he's playing this passively. Okay, look, there we go again. That is the Dark Special, where you basically throw Brutelings on the ground on one of your own creep tumors or spore crawlers or whatever, and then you throw the rest of the Brutelings on the other Brutelings. It takes a lot of micro, but you can essentially, yeah, look at that. You can get additional range on those Brutelings. Couple units here and there. You can make it so that the Terran units are going to be preoccupied. They're obviously not able to fire all of the time, so you can maybe engage when they've already got a shot on cooldown. Ghost ends up going down. Couple Marines got killed as well. A lot of energy is soaked out of those medevacs. It doesn't seem like much, but it really does add up over time. I would love to see like one lurker over here. I know this is not a game with lurkers, but maybe one infestor, a couple fungals, or so, like something. One queen harassing the high ground. That'd be nice. Alright. Cure, you really should not go through another one of those choke points. I'm not exactly sure how you fight on this map, but you don't go through one of those choke points if you cannot avoid it. Yeah, let the Zerg player come to you. There's really no particular reason here to jump the gun. Hey, look. Love that. There's a lot of damage. James Bond over here. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. That's a lot of damage, actually. That may very well just tip the income advantage even further in favor of the Zerg here. One thing you can do as Terran, actually, and I do like this move, is go for the tactical nukes. Tactical nukes in StarCraft 2 are mostly used for creep cleaning these days, but also to take control of a certain area, right? So obviously if you can nuke over here, that entire Zerg army is going to have to back off. I think that's a fantastic idea. It's 100 minerals, 100 gas, so not super cheap. But it should be something that Kira can still barely afford. Obviously, Zergs will try to hunt down the ghost that is casting that tactical nuke, because if the ghost gets destroyed, while the nuke is still channeling, the nuke just disappears. Alright, so there we go. Dark not wanting to risk it. He's mining out these minerals over here. This is going to be a difficult game to judge, though, right? So, if you're Terran right now, you know that Zerg is mining a base that you mined for a good while at the beginning of the game. So, this base over here is probably not going to provide that much income. The expansion over here on the low ground is also going to be the Zergs, but it is what it is. In the meantime, you get a fresh expansion over here. Plus, obviously, you get to mine out the base over here on the right side, too. So, it is difficult to judge exactly how much, the opponent is still getting. But this is, at the 32-minute mark, a pretty even game. It's been going back and forth for a while. But I like it. Okay. Yeah, these nukes are fantastic. I think the spores will probably have to back off. Yeah, I was going to say, that's not going to happen. Slowly moving forward. Creep takes about a half minute or so before it recedes. So, it's going back. Cloak coming up. Ooh, that's very late. He's going cloak, nuke into, what's it called? Enhanced shockwaves. That is the additional EMP range. Or it increases the radius of the EMP. I guess effectively also creating more range. Actually super important. I'm a little surprised he didn't have those upgrades yet. Like, he definitely could have afforded it earlier on. So, this game is going to be decided by the absolute final resources. And there's actually still quite a bit remaining in these mineral fields over here. Not bad. Yeah, mules are going to be able to make short work of that. A couple thousand gas as well. Honestly, not bad. Not bad for Kira at all. I think he made the correct call. I mean, he didn't really make the call, I guess. I was going to say, it was a good idea for him to take this side of the map and then allow the Zerg the left side of the map, but I guess he was almost forced into this position. I think Dark should have been a little bit more aggressive when he first took that massive engagement over here. Okay, fungal growths, parasitic bombs dealing so much damage. It's a lot of damage, guys. No splits, no reaction whatsoever. I don't really like how the role of spellcasters in StarCraft 2 is as critical as it is. I wish there was, like, I wish spellcasters in StarCraft 2 were support units, you know? Like, kind of like the Sentry. Sentries are amazing, but you don't want to have 12 of them. Right? I wish that Ghosts and, you know, Infestors and all of those units weren't as critical as they actually are right now. I think they... Especially when the meta gets more and more figured out, they tend to become more and more important. That's a very brave Infestor. Okay. It's like, nah, I'm good. No worries. Radiation doesn't bother me. But yeah, spellcasters is really what separates the really good players from the best players. Just the control and the amount of micro they require, though, is very difficult. That's a lot of spores, by the way. Like, he's basically putting up more and more spore crawlers with the drones that he's got, just to try and max out, I guess, with other units as well. This is nice and all, but I'm not 100% sure if I guess it's going to be difficult for the Terran to actually make a move onto the creep. So not only the creep is going to be scary, but the Liberators just won't be able to go in that area. You can't really move this Terran army around without that. Anyways, here's once again the Dark Special. I've seen Cyril do it once. Very briefly. But I'm a fan of the Dark Special, man. It's so good. Look at this. This is dealing so much damage. Okay, not really. But it's dealing a little bit of damage. It's forcing the Terran to do something, though, right? Like, he can't keep sitting here. I mean, he can. But he's slowly being pushed back. That siege tank now has 90 kills. And that's nice and all. But it's mostly Brute-lings. It's not that it deals a lot of damage, it's just sustained damage, right? Sustained damage at the cost of a lot of actions per minute here for the Zerg. But Dark's basically saying, yo, if you're gonna camp out there, that's nice. I don't care, but you're gonna slowly pay the price. Alright, tactical nuke. Number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe number 4, I'm not 100% sure. This one coming in from the side. A flanking nuke. Not entirely sure if that's the best move, but... yeah, it's a lot of creep tumors, I guess. 13 drones also just get sacrificed. I think that was on purpose, just so he can replace those with more units. Although he doesn't need to replace them with units if he does. If that's what he wants to do. I guess it breaks the stalemate. That's really what it does. It's not that it deals a lot of damage, but it deals a little bit of damage, and it means that Terran can't just sit there and wait. Yeah, that's a Hellbat going down. We saw a siege tank taking a lot of damage. 139 kills, by the way. Obviously, repairing a siege tank back up to full. It's not quite as costly as making a new one, but it's not free. Whereas those little Brute-lings, they are. Don't know what this... okay, he's gonna nuke the low ground? Is that what we're doing? Sure. Starting to feel a little bit desperate now, Kieran, not gonna lie. Okay. You know that Dark just gave you 13 drones, right? Like, he didn't want those workers anymore. He's now gonna be at 5 workers. He can make a couple more if he really wants to, I guess. Yeah, he'll make a couple drones. Just to mine out those final mineral fields. There's literally nothing else for him to mine here. In a straight-up engagement, though, this Terran army will win. So Dark is basically banking on the patience right here of Cure to run out. For mistakes to start happening. There you go. Thor's going down. A whole lot of units actually just get sniped. Cure at this point obviously hoping for the same thing as well. Hoping that he can break this this Zerg. Maybe with a big tactical nuke, or maybe, you know... ooh, that's so risky. Why always do that? Oh, God. Yeah, that nuke is not going to land. But if that would have been a misclick, that would have been the end of that entire Zerg army. But hey, it wasn't a misclick. She's just making wave after wave after wave of these units. I guess so. Yep, overextension here. That's a Thor going down. That's 2 Liberators going down. Brilliant. So I play Zerg myself, so maybe this is going to be a little bit biased. But I kind of like seeing this. Like, it's not that Dark wanted to play this game, right? It's the Terran players that are really happy to turtle up, sit back, and play this type of match. It really is the Terran players that are deciding the passivity in a game like this. And it seems to me that Dark has found a way to, at the very least, punish it. Like, it's not like he's necessarily going to win this game, but he's certainly getting to the point where it seems that this playstyle here from Cure may not necessarily be the preferred way of playing. Obviously, there's only a handful of Zerg players that can actually play this, because this is very difficult. But it may not necessarily be the most optimal way to play. Because previously, Zerg players didn't use the micro trick, because they didn't know it could be done. Just mining out these last little bits of gas as well. I actually love that. Anyways. Yeah, Dark is basically just going up against Terran right now who's trying to mine out the whole map. And you know what? This army here from Cure is still incredibly strong. That's 3 ghosts going down. I think maybe a Brute Lord or 2 as well. Yeah, 10 Brutes in total in this game. Insane. Like, really good work here by Dark. I almost forgot commentating right there for a little bit. I was just admiring. He's transfusing with the queens in the meantime, right? Just trying to keep those brutes as high health as possible. Gotta click each individual Brute Lord in order to keep it back up. Now they're going out there again. 29 Brute Lords. The hero siege tank, 239 kills. Yep, it's gonna get destroyed. Another tank ended up going down there too. A Thor just got shut down. And Cure is gonna have to fall back. So Cure has been mining out the Zerg side of the map for as long as he can, right? He's been mining out as much as he can. He's now scanning. He's even mining out the resources over here. The man just wants to have this map entirely mined out. So this map is not gonna have any resources anymore before too long. The question is, what are you trying to make? What is Terran aiming for at this point? I know what you're, I'm gonna mention it again. I've said this a million times before in previous casts. I think one thing they should definitely add on is Ravens. Like, I don't know what makes the Zerg army any better, but for Terran, it seems that Ravens are just never made at this stage in the game, and I think that would be fantastic. There's still a lot of Marines in his army, too. 24 of them. I don't think Marines are really that useful here. Anyways, here come the Banelings! Oh my god, a lot of damage done. Well, that's those Marines gone at the very least. Well, the majority of them. Let's see how this engagement is actually going to take place, though. This is exactly what Cure has been aiming for the entire game long. 42 minutes in the making. Do we have enough stuff? I just don't think so. Couple of command centers. What are you guys doing? Where are you guys coming from? Yep. I believe that Dark has solved a late game Terran versus Zerg. I think a lot of other top-level Zergs are gonna look at this. Well, a lot of other. There's not a whole lot of them, but I think a lot of other Zerg players at the highest level are gonna look at this. And I'll make note of it. Look at Dark, just playing with his own Brutelings. Can I even broadcast that? I feel like that sounded dirty, but anyways. There's still a small chance that somehow Cure can take a magical engagement. Now it's Dark who's going up through that choke point. Yeah, the EMPs are massive though. Most of those infestors are out of energy, but there's just simply so many of them. The Terran army is getting absolutely demolished. GG is cold. And after a very back and forth game, it's Dark who obtains the victory.